Came home. I just came to talk to Arsenio. You know, that's all. Yeah. They didn't stand up for me. I hate your cat. They didn't stand up for me. Gary Moore, man, it must be cool to work with Gary Moore. Oh, that's the man. We had to go back. I got respect for old school. What I mean by that is veterans that paved the way for us, man, because it would be none of us on television if it wasn't for them. So, yeah. You know, paved the road. Yep. Yeah. Gary Moore's been very, very good to me. Absolutely. We love you, brother. Congratulations on the Image Award.
Right. They always do that on this. There's other ones that'll do it and work just fine. How does Daily Motion work faster than YouTube? Ain't that funny? And YouTube supposed to be the best video streaming platform. Well, even they try to censor everything anyway, but yeah. And not censoring the correct stuff like foul language or actual inappropriate stuff.
2-1 last year? Yeah. Good. Yeah, it felt good, man, getting the image and everything. But, you know, I had to find out what the image meant, you know, because I realized doing my show on Martin, every Thursday I have a lot of people saying you got kid fans, and you got to kind of watch what you say and you do for kid fans. And I was thinking, well, you know, Fox put me at 8:30 on Thursday, so you don't have a choice but the kids to see who you are. So I guess the kids saw these ears and said, we like them. And but I realized what comes with having all this responsibility, because we're living in a time right now, man, that if we can get heavy. Because I came to talk, y'all. Is that all right? You know, I feel like I could rap the Arsenio guy. Man, I feel we're living in a time right now. Like, I have nice cars now, and I have a big house, and it's nice, bro. But I can't really drive that car all around the neighborhood, because brothers go, yeah, okay, it's nice, but drive it over here. So it kind of made me wake up. I went home and I talked to the strongest women in my life, which are my mother and my sisters, man. And you know, they'll tell you the truth. And my mother said, you know, kids like you for a reason. She said, what about the little boy who wanted to meet you? I said, what little boy? The little boy that just passed away. And there was this little kid who had cancer. And I went to Atlanta to perform, and he wanted to meet me. And this little kid was like 8 years old. And, you know, I said, okay, we'll bring him up to the room. Meet him. So he's in a wheelchair, and the little kid just, you know, I said, hey, what's up, man? I'm Martin, da-da-da. Here's your hat. Here's a hat for you and everything. And he goes, why you do?
All right, it's acting up a little bit, but maybe we let it load a little bit. It might put in a little bit more work there. But anyway, what Martin is about to say on this is with that boy is the boy is actually gonna remember unfortunately the shenanigans and honestly the most well tied with when he plays who's supposed to be his mother on the show. Uh, for the most infamous character on the show because unfortunately when they go in Hollywood and most times um, most times as comedians of quote unquote African American descent. I'm gonna use terms that most of us understand. Uh, or quote unquote black people, when they go in the entertainment industry or whatever, they pretty much as let's say as comedians, a lot of times they had them go in there and, play a woman or as, a male dressing up as a woman. Philip Wilson had that on like a front of it or something. Like it was just like really, you know, uh Tyler Perry playing, Medea. Um and it's just sad and unfortunate. And now of course they're pushing, the whole transgender thing hard. Um that's basically who run BLM, really is TLM, honestly. They don't have no love for black people. They hate people. They hate quote unquote black people. You know, let's tell the truth. Tell it like it is. And you got Marxist views. Come on. Communism, really? Like views? Come on now, stop. So, we've got to understand that. But on this, Martin gonna spit, some truth on that, man. Because the thing is, the truth can come from a lot of the most unlikely places. But understand why we're doing this. If you see the title, it says Times of Revelation Hidden in Plain Sight. They laughed at the truth, part 2. So it's one part on here, that I really want to pay attention to and listen because it's going to be something even as related to the topic we've been talking about and who true Judah is and true Israel is and everything like that. And you'll hear, there's part on that, but we're going to play pretty much close to the whole thing because Martin going to say a lot of stuff that was already, that is still being said now. This is the interview from 93. And it's like, you're still hearing the same stuff. You're still seeing a lot of the same stuff that he was sitting there saying. And to be honest, if he had went a certain way, he might could have been a preacher because with a lot of stuff, people be calling certain stuff, but they go, another way or another route with it, unfortunately. But if you hear, like, you can see, and then he'll say, the names that he has a little bit about what his mother was thinking, a little bit about what his parents was thinking when they named him. And so, there's some nuggets for sure that you can get out of it. Some things you're gonna hear him say, and we'll probably, it again at another as well too. And so yeah, at the same time, also watch how Arsenio's looking at him. It's just real odd how Arsenio's looking at him. But yeah, he would answer things, and a lot of times comedians, a lot of times comedians be knowing a lot more than people get them credit for or think that they know, and that's why a lot of times what they be telling, a lot of times they be telling you the experiences and stuff that they truly experienced or saw. Like on what was it, Pimp? I think it was a Pimp Chronicles. The first one Cat Williams did that basically, as far as the people was like, oh, we like that. when he talked about how he looked into one of them rooms and he was like, "Oh no, is that?" And people thought he was, joking. And you could see the serious looking. Even then, even at that time, like even at that time when I was, in college, when I was in college, that came out, and I was like, it's something about how he looking, like as if he actually started. Like you could just see on his in his countenance, like he joking, y'all laughing, but he for real. Kind of like Bernie Mac was saying before he or whatever. Um, when he was talking about, them children, he said 2, 4, and 6, and everybody said, "Oh," and he said, "Oh," and then he said, basically like saying, "Oh, nothing, come, come help me raise, them or whatever." He used different, words, of course, but we don't talk like that on here. But basically, a lot of times they tell stuff, a lot of times they, do see. So, a reason they're used to sometimes say some or bring out some truth is because, you know, people are gonna be like, oh, that's comedian, that's just funny. They're gonna laugh at it, they're gonna laugh it off. So that's also what we're doing this right now. It show how they slide, some things in, using comedians. And I'm not saying on this one they did that with Martin, but the point is the fact that he is uh saying certain stuff on here, people gonna be like, oh, whatever, that's smart, that's Martin. He funny, waiting to, ah, man, he's saying that he making a joke, but he was actually being quite serious. Um, but you're gonna see how Arsenio look at him and some of the things he's saying, and then also, they try to, frame him after because you're gonna hear him say stuff like we've said some stuff too about you're gonna hear him say, about the powers that be and things like that, so called at least the powers that be. You're gonna hear him say that. And actually they came in his neck not long after this because um, he got a lot of stuff that oh he going crazy because he was running down the street saying they're looking for me, they're trying to get me. Man, that man wasn't making it up. He says and so we seen the same thing happen with Cat Williams. If we wasn't even go and watch, that other one, the brother that's in the wall, he put it up there, man. To me, the greatest stand up, that was ever done was that one that he did on Cap Clip. Cause he went in on the devil. He went in on him. But after he did that, and they tried to run him, well, a lot of places, even a small, town he went into, Hawk and stuff like that. They, like that, and so um, just stuff like that was happening. They just run you. They run you through the ringer when you going at, man. You can't make it with the devil, man. And then you going in there and then you go hard on him. Because honestly, if we look at most of what we see typically when it's, comedy or it's movies, they all try to make fun of Jesus, the one who is the truth, right? Instead of making fun of Muhammad or the the false gods. But Williams went in on them false gods, and it was beautiful. It really was. It really was. And at least he wasn't scared to do it. Once he ain't scared to do it, they ain't gonna touch on that. They ain't gonna touch that, man. They ain't gonna touch it with a 10-foot pole. But if you don't have the audacity to do that, that's saying something. Unfortunately, they got to him. They did. And made him get that old tattoo and stuff. But, he did say stuff about it. And so, yeah, it's certain stuff when you say it, yeah, that, it's like a spiritual tripwire, if you think about it. And they like, oh, nah, say that one. No, we coming at you now. And it's sad they all try to make them also slide and wear this and things like that. And unfortunately he did Big Mama's house too. And sometimes when we're like, oh, we think that's, oh man, that was a good movie, that's cool. But when you and then you really and you understand, wait, no, that's an abomination to God. You're putting on stuff that pertaining to a woman. Not only that, you then like you, he didn't make you that. So that's an abomination. to the Most High God. He knew what he was doing. He can't improve on his creation. But that's what man be thinking. Man want to be, they think they can improve on his creation. They think they can say that it's all kinds of genders. I find it's some odd genders. Somebody might somebody might come on something a couple of years and say, oh no, but it's just more than that. The point is that's ridiculous. It's only two. It's only two. Like this beautiful conversation I had with a brother. And the cool part about it was I'm saying brother earlier. And typically when we say brother, we talking to somebody else who quote unquote looks black. No, he wasn't. He wasn't that. There was a 20-year-old. This was a 20-year-old. He was coming to do some work here. And we ended up having some conversation. This is a 20-year-old. And we could have a conversation that the church need to have right now. Basically, what we talked about on that first part is a conversation that the church need to have, and then things can get, and then to have a conversation also with the world. But to be able to have that conversation with a 20-year-old, and he can speak real much, but it's some older, and it's like, in depth, when they ain't trying to hear that, it's like, you see, we don't be wanting to hear the truth. The truth be right there in front of our faces. It be sitting right there, be slapping you in the face. Like, psh, oh, man, you don't see that? And it's sad, man. And that was the thing about it. It's sad. It's sad. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Period. Right. It wasn't even that hard for him to that. Like, man, we trying to get to the kingdom. We out here worrying about letting the wrong stuff divide us. We need to be trying to get to the kingdom together. That's the, you know, people ain't seeing who really is. Come on, man. I mean, ain't based on color. Really? Really? But like we said, them other ones, the truth gotta be brought out. Period. But you're going to hear and say some stuff on here also about, you know, quote unquote black movies with a bunch of quote unquote black. There's same stuff you hearing them try to say, no, we need to make all our own stuff. Now that was 93. And we repeating cycles, we're saying the same stuff we didn't learn from the previous cycle. Like I said, we're gonna do some on certain years in the 60s and late 50s, and then we might do some in mid 50s or the 40s. We may even show shows on there because there's some stuff from some of those. It's like, whoa. And the movie, they was really throwing stuff in there. That was the early years of the medium of television. So you know they had to bring it out heavy them first years to throw out the propaganda. For sure. For sure. So let's get back to the video. Oh, they don't start acting up.
Why'd you do that today? They say. Now this little kid he couldn't really talk and say all these, but he knew about Nene, he knew about me. So like a week later, 2 weeks, he died, man. And I was like, whoa, before this little kid passed away, he wanted to meet me. God gave him a blessing of meeting me. So I'm listening to people on television call me, and writing in papers and stuff, saying I'm a clown and who is Martin and he's buffoonish. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm just a guy on television that loves to make people laugh. Whether you black, white, Chinese, short, midget, I love to make everybody laugh. So I went home, I said, Mom, people lashing out. And usually I don't say nothing. I want to, go to these because I'm from the neighborhood. But my mother said, baby, you you know how it is. From the neighborhood, you won't wait outside the door. Well, when they coming outside, So my mother said, nah, baby, think of the time you living in. Right now, you can't really drive down the street. Racism still exists. We gotta admit it. People, we don't speak to each other, and we are lunching. We're pulling guns. We're taking each other, and this world ain't supposed to be like this. This is all wrong. We fight, and we're fighting for the wrong things. Everybody measures success in having a car, having a big house, but success is measured in your happiness. Because if you ain't happy, it don't mean a damn. And you are happy, bruh. And so when I went home and talked to mom and found out what I needed to be happy, for me to be happy was to know me. My mother broke some science to me. She said, if anybody call you a clown, they call you buffoonish. You're a comedian. You walk with the faith. If we all get back to why we're really here, man ain't God. God is God. And mom said, you are named after Martin Luther King. You are named after John F. Kennedy. Your name is Martin Fitzgerald Lawrence. You were born in 65. I named you after a black man and a white man to show you there's two good people in this world that try to make a difference, bring people together. So I got to thinking, I said, that is true. So I said, what did Martin Luther King say before he died? And this is when I got my image, I started thinking about this. Martin Luther King said, when I die, don't tell them about the Nobel Peace Prize that I won. That ain't important. Don't tell them about all the other accolades that I want. That ain't important. What I want you to tell them is Martin Luther King trying to help somebody. And if I've done that, my living isn't in vain.
Like the song. That's only if we fully live
to all
for
the
Jesus.
people that would call me a clown, buffoonish,
Otherwise,
silly,
yeah,
who is this
living
kid?
in
I walk with faith, because mama told me so. I'm Martin Fitzgerald Lawrence.
We keep saying walk with the faith instead of just saying Jesus.
Like me or love me. Everything
He's saying
is
some
good,
stuff coded, though. Man, it would have been so if he just went ahead and said,
I love it, man. I love it.
You can tell he heard about it when he was
younger.
man.
And I came on here.
But a lot of the old
school
used to either make you go to church, or they at least was going
to talk show. I'm a dog. I said, then I started thinking.
He was going to 65. That's just for my parents.
Man, you make millions of people laugh. We can't afford to be dogging each other, not tuning in to you and support each other. Because back in the old Hollywood, I saw black people in movie theaters damn near every week. Now I gotta wait for Denzel to do a movie. Wesley Snipes is like, that's the only ones out here. We gotta put our heads together to do projects to give the consumer, people, what they want, and stop letting the government tell us what to give them. Give them laughs, give them entertainment, because that's what your dollar pays for. Yeah. Stop joking them down. Yeah. I think one thing that's very important is like you take that in. The thing you just talked about. Martin had the script and he wanted me to do it. And I was like, yo, tell Martin, let's get together so I can work out some stuff with him on this. So it's as good for me as it is for him. Yeah. And I don't know what they came back and tell you, but we have people in the middle. Oh, So, I'm like, what do you think? Come on, he called Tommy Davidson, man. And that's crazy, man. We must talk. We got to talk. My thing is, for me going home, I came on here to say, this wasn't even to promote nothing. I got stuff coming out. We'll talk about that next time. This was just to come on and say, let me get out the house and rap to my brother. When I was at the Image Award and they gave me the awards, I was hearing all this stuff about Tupac and Snoop Dogg and kids and I'm going, wait a minute. If you want to hear young people, you gotta listen to young people. I see preachers riding over like the tapes of steamrolling tapes, and I'm going, wait a minute, this is a preacher, man. If a young kid he may not always do it right through his art, but if he's trying to tell you something because that's all he knows, by you running over his stuff is creating people being mad and being angry, racism in one sense. You can't put somebody down, you know what I'm saying, and then tell them, well, you don't do this, and you hollering at them, and then people get like, now as a kid, I want to hear you. I'm like, what you got to say? Ain't cool for us getting together and growing. Smile and you sit down and you talk with them and say, listen, man, this ain't cool for us getting together and growing. Now, as a kid, I want to hear you. I'm like, what you got to say? Oh, you right. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. It's interesting because when you walked out, something dawned on me. Everybody stood up, gave you props, and it dawned on me the stuff that you're thinking about, the stuff that's bugging you. They are the power in the sense of what they can get to the people. It's funny because the media don't, the media, they are the power in the sense of what they can get to the people and what they don't. And in Hollywood, we got to wake up every morning, hear our name blasted on the radio. Here it is. And I'm the kind of guy, I don't say nothing about nothing. You don't mess with me, I don't mess with you. But when I see people out there that's disrespecting, women cutting up, our brothers and sisters, I mean, anybody, whether you black, white, we ain't supposed to be living this way. We supposed to be smiling and knowing that, hey, success is in our happiness. And if we all get back to the faith, you'll be better off, because all of this, we renting all this while we here anyway, bro. When you die, to be another host right here. Boy, I say there. So don't that I'm gonna read this quick clip. Don't get fooled, man. I just don't want people to get fooled, man, because it's nice when they show the lifestyles of the rich and famous, and they tell you, this is what you can have someday, but yet you got kids that work hard and go through college and they can't get out, can't even get a job. You know what I'm saying? You can't trick them, man. You can't be tricking them. We would take commercial. Come back with more Martin Lawrence.
And there on the end, Thomas Michael Ford. I believe we mentioned him briefly on another one, and we talked about the connection of what happened with him, with what happened with Kobe, and what happened with Jeanette Dubois, and what happened with Nipsey Hussle. I don't know if we mentioned all those names, but all the things that happened in them, it is all connected, along with Naya Rivera as well. We didn't get into with her. We just brought her up, as far as that was concerned, because when we talked about Red Fox, because she was on that show, The Royal Family, and if I'm not mistaken, I think she said that kind of messed with her, seeing that from that age, what happened, to him, to Red Fox, and she wasn't, but I think 33 years old or something like that. I believe that's what she was, and how they like to take people out at the quote unquote parties. They like to take people out at that age. Nipsey was that too, if I'm not mistaken, because that was how old Jesus Christ was when he died and also resurrected. The Father resurrected him from the dead, of course, because the Father is a righteous judge, and they were not. And of course, it was part of the plan. But you see how they try to counterfeit and mirror those things. But yes, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she was 33 as well. Yes, 1987. So yeah, 33. But we may talk about that one another time, or that may be on one of the blogs. But yeah. So yeah, you see Tommy right there on the end. Yeah, I just wanted to do a quick to point that out real quick. Let's continue. One thing I know,
I got a question for you inspired by Kid and Play's presence in the house. Since the comic I knew did the fly at the Comedy Store, how have you changed most? I grew up, man. You know what I'm saying? Those characters in House Party, man, and Kid and Play are my boys. I love them. So please go see House Party 3. In those movies, I always wanted to do characters that were real to people. So I didn't care what you thought about me, you know, because I always knew who I was. If you thought I had bad breath, fine. If you thought, you know, you the big head Draven, fine. You know, because I knew how to separate me being an actor and what was in my real life. I know I go home and brush my teeth. So, coming from House Party, it was just, you know, the third one, why I wasn't in it, just because, you know, I was growing up and because of my schedule on Martin and everything, and I got some other stuff coming for people that the studios are looking at, and they're going, you sure you want to give this to people? And I'm going, hey, trust me, the people will like it. So I'm battling them right now. So I had to grow up. That's all. How is money changing? Money changing. Oh, man. It showed me that when I get it, I just want to do more and more good with it, man. Because I know I ain't taking it with me. So it's like, I just want to help people because I know, you know, if you know, I can't help everybody. You know that. If you could get 10 people in the line, hey, bro, I need 5. You know, and then if you do that, you find out, you'll be broke. But because I have such a large, because I don't want to be broke because I have a large family and I want to be able to make sure, you know, they take care of the government, make sure you check out with nothing. I'm like, so I want to make sure I'm always, you know, balanced and doing the right thing. But
that's
most importantly, I want to build. I want to build. I said it last time, bro, where we make, you know, our own movies. What I mean by that is have the money to make our own movies. You know, when you got to go to other people and executives that don't know your vision, you know what I'm saying, of what you're trying to get to the people, it's hard to explain because, you know, you got executives that just worked at JCPenney and now they run in studios and they go, well, I don't understand. Why does the guy have to cry? And you're going, because he's emotional. Well, why does he have to cry? And you're going, man, you ain't never gonna get it. So I want to build something, man. I want to get back to, remember when Cosby and all of them had the movies? Let's do it again. Piece of the action. I mean, you saw a variety of black stars, man, on screen. You know what I'm saying? Just you know, people working. It wasn't just one. You saw people work. House Party 3. Wow. It said it. Go see House Party 3. Nothing but black folks on screen. and no, what I meant like that, because that's fun. But you know, you have movies out here where I don't see, you know, I might see a white film and I don't see a black star, and I go, wait a minute, you're doing the 10 Commandments. How can you not have a black actor in the 10 Commandments? Hot Egypt. You got to be dark. It was hot in Egypt, you know. So I just want to.
Wow, and that wasn't even a laugh track when they laughed right there. This was actually laughing.
Because I'm a consumer, so I know what people like. When I was working at the gas station and buffing floors, every dollar I took out my money, I was
this in 93, y'all.
I was going, wait a minute, why I gotta be that?
He knew that. It's common sense.
People, man. So when you pay $1, I don't want you paying $1 to see Martin because I need your money. No, I want you to say, hey, I'm paying this because it's worth it. You know, because I go out, my cast to tell you, I live the Martin show, man, to give people something every week. We all do. That on television, you're limited. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch this, you got to watch that. But with what we do, we just say if we keep it real, you can never go wrong because the people will let you know. Yeah. When you and I talked on the phone last time, we kind of got into the whole Michael Jackson thing. Yeah. What can we tell them of that conversation? Oh, about Michael, it's just heavy because Michael, man. I mean, who are we kidding? This is the baddest entertainer in the world. I mean, the brother walks with gold. I mean, he don't do nothing. Michael, you don't hear about Michael swinging on people and everything. But I realize he's human. You just don't. I mean, this is Michael Jackson. So now let's talk Michael Jackson. This is Michael Jackson that is in the eyes of everybody in America. Most importantly, the kids who you say we have to help are the kids. Now, when you put him on TV and accuse him before you even had a trial or anything, you know what I'm saying? Kids see that. You tearing down their hero. So now we got to go back to these young kids that had all that smile for Michael. We got to rebuild it, know, and explain to them. You follow me? You accuse somebody before you have a trial, brother. That's not right. That ain't America. America is supposed to.
That is America.
And I mean, it ain't like, run to the defense of everyone, Martin. Go out and talk. It's just about, if you're living right, it's just about, I believe in people, man. And I don't like to see people get taken by no means. And it's just about, the powers that be in America can make this all right. You can make it all right for everybody. You talk about the homeless. You talk about, I saw Ice-T get on his knees and say, hey, help the neighborhood. I ain't really hear nobody, right there. Yeah, right here where I was, help the neighborhood. What I'm saying is the powers that be know that you can make it all right for people in America. You don't have to have all these homeless shelters. Why? Because you can stop building bombs and build apartment complexes and places for people to live. Believe me, I like the money that we get to make from entertainers, but then how can you argue about teachers not getting paid their money, man? They're teachers, my thing is teachers are the closest people to your kids, so they can teach them and educate. Kids only know what you nurture into them as a child. When you grow up and you find out and you go, damn, I'm messed up in some ways, I don't understand. You got to research and say, why am I like that? Because you only know what you grew up with, what's in you. If you had a parent, the parent was there all the time and taught you, fine. In my neighborhood, bro, moms was there, and she was the one that said, no matter what, boy, I don't care, put a skull cap on your hat, on your head. Don't go out there in the cold. Do the right thing, But most importantly, keep the faith. Keep the faith. Anybody that's ever watching me going, Martin looks real. He seems like he just damn. I am, because I care what people think about me. I'm like, you think what you want. But I know that man, I came from being working the maintenance, bumping floors to this point right now. I'm running a business. My hat is HN what? I think. You follow me? So I'm telling all the neighborhood kids that anybody ever tell you can't do it, or if you believe in your God, but most importantly, keep the faith, because when everybody else will abandon you, God ain't going nowhere. Sunday night, Fox, Martin Lloyd. Come back to it, man. Thank you, man. Martin Lloyd.
They say never leave you nor forsake you. If you leave him, right? Leave him, right? You get cast off. Oh yeah. But see, now you sound like good man preacher. Yeah. Just show the wrong. Jesus is the way, the truth, and life. No man come unto the Father but by him. I hope and pray you found him. Be honest. All right, now let's go to the beginning of the video where Kid and Play. Arsenio was talking to Kid and Play, and then we're gonna
Do your hair? Actually,
hear a few things they were saying
try
right
to come
there.
in, sometime. Hey,
Notice the RBG, the red, black, energy.
No habit.
We'll get into that more when we do
You can't
Boomerang.
go to some other
Interesting,
place
Martin
because
was
that's
in that
bad for
movie
his
too,
business
right?
if they see you somewhere else.
He pointed out some stuff in that.
It's okay. Not everybody appeals to that particular style. Not really. Number one on Clinton's list. Sometimes can't work with you. You need some moisturization. You better recognize, moisturize, and a bag of jump ropes on the top of his head. Anyway, it's unique. I like this. Your own thing. Turned into the pro thing now, but he doesn't want to do that. You know, 'cause I'm into the conservative type. Richard Roundtree. You know. Oh, Cleopatra Jones type. Heard that. Okay, serious question. Yes, sir. Coast to coast, no matter where you go, brothers killing brothers, black on black crime. How do we begin to put a dent in the problem? Well, it's weird. I mean, on this latest album that we just came with, we try to send a little small message instead of the gang sign. Throw up this sign. You know, 2 fingers. You know, when it's time that it's reaching that point, let's just cool it out. I mean, you know, people know us for the house party flow and all this and that, but I mean, house party ain't no fun if there ain't nobody coming in the house. It's kind of cool to be mature about things too. I mean, I think, you know, it's coming from a pretty childish type state. It's like if you can't work out your problems through discussion and then be men or women about it, it's like, you know, just take a mature approach to it. It's time.
All right, so just heard Kid and Play say a little bit, right? And they talking about put up that sign. But what does that sign really mean, and where does it come from? We assume that that is the peace sign, right? Or the V sign, victory, right? But most times we think of it as the peace sign. Now, we talked about how they're trying to always talk about peace when there is no peace. Or essentially, really, it's the false peace sign. And man, crazy part about this, once again, show you how it go together is on the first one we did, when we were talking about Zion and everything like that, was we talked about Nike and everything like that, and how that is the name of the false Greek goddess of victory. False peace, right? It's like this false peace sign. So let's go read this together. Where did this come from? All right, let's look at this together. Let's do some reading. Let's do some reading here, everybody. All right. The V sign. The V sign is a hand gesture in which the index and middle fingers are raised and parted to make a V shape, while the other fingers are clenched. It has various meanings depending on the circumstances and how it is presented. When displayed with the palm inward toward the signer, it can be an offensive gesture in some Commonwealth nations, dating back to at least 1900. The more widespread use as a victory sign, V for victory, with the back of the hand toward the signer. It was introduced in January 1941. Interesting, right? John Thompson, who just passed, was born in that year. And is at number 41 again. Connection, Kobe was 41 when he passed, but let's continue. But it technically, well, the other one we're going to talk about goes back further than that, but they technically give credence to 1941 about one too, but we'll get to that. During the Vietnam War in the 1960s, the V sign was widely adopted by the counterculture. as a symbol of peace. Shortly thereafter, it became a gesture associated with fun in photographs, especially in East Asia, where the gesture is also associated with cuteness. Alrighty. The meaning of the V sign is partially dependent on the manner in which the hand is positioned. If the palm of the hand faces the signer, i.e. the back of the hand faces the observer, the sign can mean an insulting gesture in Australia, the Republic of Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa, and the United Kingdom, the UK. The number 2 in American Sign Language. Two. Your so-called peace, duality. Okay, let's continue. With the back of the hand facing the signer, palm of the hand facing the observer. It can mean the number 2. Victory in a setting of wartime or competition. It was first popularized in January 1941 by Victor de Laville, a Belgian politician in exile, who suggested it as a symbol of unity. Wow, like the old Queen Latifah song, UNITY. Unity. One world or okay. New world or okay. One World Trade Center. Okay, that's good. Who suggested it as a symbol of unity in a radio speech and the subsequent V for Victory campaign by the BBC. It is sometimes made using both hands with upraised arms, as United States President Dwight Eisenhower and, in imitation of him, Richard Nixon used to do. Interesting. Peace or friend, used around the world by peace and counterculture groups, popularized in the American peace movement of the 1960s. We told y'all this was a repeat of the 1960s, right? But let's continue. But we learning where this really comes from. So it's really not a good sign. Commonality with the symbols used from the 1940s was its meaning, the end of war. Wars are continuing, so yeah. V, the letter used when spelling in American Sign Language. Air quotes. Flexing fingers, palm out, one or both hands. This hand shape is also used in a number of signs in many sign languages, including in American Sign Language to look with the palm down or to see, palm up. When the pointer and middle fingers are pointed at the signer's eyes, then turned, and the pointer finger is pointed at someone, it means I'm watching you. And yeah, when people do we here, get him here, basically when they point the 2 fingers at their own eyes and then turn it at the other person, turn both of them at the other person, then they're saying, hey, we here, like as in we're on the same page. I see what you're talking. That's not on here, but that is what that means. Excuse me, sorry about that. So yeah, you can see right there and so and stuff right there, but wow, it appears we can go way further back. So let's go a little the back here. Let's continue right here. Okay. Origins. Let's see. Let's move that down a little bit. Origins. A commonly repeated legend claims that the 2-fingered salute or V sign derives from a gesture made by longbowmen fighting in the English archers at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415 during the 100 Years' War, but no written historical primary sources support this contention. Okay, so that's saying that's a legend. All right, the origin legend states that English archers believed that those who were captured by the French had their index and middle fingers cut off so that they could no longer operate their longbows, and that the V sign was used by uncaptured and victorious archers in a display of defiance against the French. In conflict with this origin myth, the chronicler Jean de Wavrin, contemporary of the Battle of Agincourt, reported that Henry, interesting, the fifth, right? Henry V mentioned in a pre-battle speech that the French were said to be threatening to cut off 3 fingers, not 2, who captured English bowmen. Okay. Wielding an English longbow is best done with 3 fingers. Neither Wavrin nor any contemporary author reported the threat was ever carried out after that, nor other battles, nor did they report anything concerning a gesture of defiance. The first unambiguous evidence of the use of the insulting V sign in the United Kingdom dates to 1901, when a worker outside Parkgate Ironworks in Rotherham used the gesture, captured on film, to indicate that he did not like being filmed. Peter Opie interviewed children in the 1950s and observed in The Lore and Language of School Children, 1959, that the much older thumbing of the nose, cognitive snook, had been replaced by the V sign as the most common insulting gesture used in the playground. So you can see the duality of, when you read in all these, you can see the duality involved with this sign or this gesture. On one hand, you get what I'm saying, it's the peace sign. On another hand, it's an insulting gesture. Why would putting up peace towards something be, or someone be an insulting gesture when you want to be at peace with others? That's continued. Between 1975 and 1977, a group of anthropologists, including Desmond Moore, studied the history and spread of European gestures and found the rude version of the V sign, to be basically unknown outside the British Isles. In his gestures, their origins and distribution, published in 1979, Morris discussed various possible origins of this sign, but came to no definite conclusion. Because of the strong taboo associated with the gesture, its public use has often been heavily penalized. As a result, there is a tendency to shy away from discussing it in detail. It is known to be dirty and is passed on from generation to generation by people who simply accept it as a recognized obscenity without bothering to analyze it. Several of the rival claims are equally appealing. The truth is that we will probably never know. All right. Victory sign. We're not even to the most damning evidence to this sign being a wicked sign and not really being what it is said to be. Victory sign, Second World War. Victory campaign. On the 18th of May, 1939, the French daily Le Monde Quotidien. I know I probably didn't say that right. It's French. I ain't French. That's the class that I didn't even pass. And it was 101. That was my fault about to put, the time. So let's continue. So basically, yeah. Not French. Had a headline of V pour Victor. On the 14th of January 1941, Victor de Levelle, which, yes, and there is a correlation between Victoria and there definitely is a connection between Victoria and victory, but there's a connection between Victoria and Nikki. So let's continue. Right? We got us a victory. Uh-huh. Yeah, Victoria's Secret. There it is. The secret is out. On the 14th of January, wow, the 14th of January 1941, Victor de Le, former Belgian Minister of Justice and director of the Belgian French language broadcast on the BBC, 1940 through 44, suggested in a broadcast that Belgians use a V for Victoire, French for victory, and Victoire Vrijheld, Dutch victory/freedom, as a rallying emblem during the Second World War. In the BBC broadcast, De Lavallée said that the occupier, by seeing this sign, always the same, infinitely repeated, would understand that he is surrounded, encircled by an immense crowd of citizens eagerly awaiting his first moment of weakness, watching for his first failure. Within weeks, chalked up V's began appearing on walls throughout Belgium, the Netherlands, and northern France. Buoyed, right, buoyed by the success. Oh snap! The BBC started the V for Victory campaign, for which they put in charge the assistant news editor Douglas Ritchie, posing as Colonel Britain. Ritchie suggested an audible V using its Morse code rhythm, 3 dots and a dash. Dash. Alright. As the rousing opening bars of Beethoven's, look at this, Fifth Symphony, come on now, had the same rhythm. The BBC used this as its call sign in its foreign language programs to occupied Europe for the rest of the war. The more musically educated also understood that it was the fate motif knocking on the door of the Third Reich. The BBC also encouraged the use of the V gesture, introduced by Lavallée. The Third Reich. I'm pretty sure most know what that is, but let's just let it do the mini pull-up. Yep, it is. That's another wicked side. The swastika. But let's continue. So it's showing you the stuff. It's showing you something about these so-called opposite sides of the Second World War. It's showing you there was a connection there. Do you see that? Do you see this? Oh, wait till we get to, we're going to get to the kicker. We have not hit the climax of this movie yet. Yeah, movie, right? The BBC also encouraged the use of the V gesture introduced by De Levitt. Right, but why is there motif? There's song similar to the song of the Third Reich, right? And then you fight against. Let's continue. You supposedly fight against. Okay. By July 1941, the emblematic use of the letter V had spread through occupied Europe. On the 19th of July, Prime Minister Winston Churchill referred approvingly to the V for Victory campaign in a speech, from which point he started using the V hand sign. You can see those pictures on the side, how he over there doing stuff. Supposedly, they say no, he didn't know the meaning when he flipped it the other way. It does kind of look like something else when it flipped the other way, doesn't it? Sorry about that. The air is kind of the hair from the mustache is kind of hitting the nose, and so it's kind of like, so I'm doing that to kind of try to move it. But let's continue. Early on, he sometimes gestured palm in, sometimes with a cigar between his fingers. Later in the war, he used palm out. After aides explained to the aristocratic Churchill what the palm in gesture meant to other classes, he made sure to use the appropriate sign. Yet the double entendre of the gesture. There it is. Really? Right. It's that's language. That's sending signals to your mind, sending a double signal to your mind, to your subconscious. Double minded. That's unstable. They want your mind to think two different ways and be split about that. Interesting. I just kind of did that with my like. So when you do the two different ways and your hand kind of go like that, that makes it be there. So you see, yet the double entendre. That's why that'll be for talking with their hands a lot and too much, and that's why we'll speak of that. But let's continue. Yet the double entendre, the gesture, might have contributed to its popularity. For a simple twist of hand would have presented the dorsal side in a mocking snub to the common enemy. Other Allied leaders used the sign as well. The Germans could not remove all the signs, so they adopted the V sign as a German symbol, sometimes adding laurel leaves under it, painting their own V's on walls, vehicles, and adding a massive V on the Eiffel Tower. See, look at this. So you can see some of the pictures right there. Ooh wee, here it is. Here we go. And we'll all right. We'll stop it once we read the part with Nixon. But here it is. Listen to this. In 1942, 42, right? In 1942, Lester Crowley. If you don't about him, this man. This man was basically like the most, this. The one we was talking about, it was talking about, basically he wrote something, he called it the book of the law, and he would say, do as thou wilt, the whole of the law. It's just blasphemous. It's just blasphemous. The boy Jay-Z wore a shirt with the deal on it. We can tell, but yeah, that dude, wicked, evil, everything. It's even gonna tell you a little bit here about Buddy. Watch this. In 1942, Lester Crowley, a British occultist, really, claimed to have invented the usage of a V sign in February 1941 as a magical foil. Did you hear that? Uh-huh. To the Nazis' use of the swastika. See? Sigil magic. Using signs. Well, we talked about this. When the gangs throw up their different signs, that's the same thing as that. It is. When they're banging on colors, it's the same thing as that. It's the same thing. When politicians throw up the signs, it's the same thing. when the NBA players, NFL players throw up the signs, it's the same thing. The diamond, which a lot of people probably thought when they was young, that they thought it was the Rock. Oh, he throwing up the Rock. First off, why did this man David Rockefeller? Y'all be like, oh, that's funny. That's a play. No, that man telling you who he really in cahoots with. That's why he called it Rockefeller. Don't get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. We're going. We may go. Yeah, we gotta go in on him a little more when we do the one on Brooklyn. Don't worry. And we gotta do that again because the new breaking news about Steve Nash being the Brooklyn Nets head coach. It was so funny because looking at stuff. So I just happened to. I remember matter of fact, we mentioned him on the other one, but his resume was just looking up stuff and some connects Nash had to some stuff. You know, he did quote unquote God other day of R.J. Barrett. Who he's on a New York Knicks, but Nash is going to a New York team too. But yeah, but if you look at the meaning of Nash, his last name, and then if you look at the meaning of RJ is Rowan Jr., but yeah, the meaning of RJ's first name, his dad really more so than his dad's first name, and you'll see the connect there. Um, that's some homework for you. Go check that out. And then it was just a lot with Steve Ames. Steve, basically like Steve N and middle name John. Interesting, right? And born in Johannesburg, South Carolina. But yeah, we're gonna leave that right there. We're gonna leave that right there. Check some more out about that. We're gonna leave that right there though, boy. So yeah. Um so I mean you can see this. You can see they're basically fighting with up on both sides. Just like when a gang was signed, a gang would throw up a sign from the group he on, and you'll see a gang member from the other group throw up the sign from his. They fighting spiritually right there. Everything starts in the spiritual first. We need to understand this, please. And that show you right there once again too that those they really be quote unquote on the team, and we like they on different teams. The Allied and the Axis powers, man. Understand they was being used on both sides. Let's not get it twisted. Let's continue though. He maintained that he passed this to friends at the BBC and to the British Naval Intelligence Division through his connections in MI5, eventually gaining the approval of Winston Churchill. Crowley noted that his 1913, that's way before this publication Magic book, or featured a V sign and a swastika on the same paper. Check. And when I say checkmate, I'm saying that that right there is the most damn evidence for this sign being a wicked sign. Oh yeah, wicked and adulterous generation seek it their sign. All right, the only I get is what side of the son of man was in the heart of was gonna be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. That's what he said that generation was gonna get as a sign. Right. And Jesus Christ himself is still what he did. The word. We look to the word. That's the when people lift it up, he draw all men unto him. Come on. And then we'll read this later. And indeed. I will finish out this little reading part right here. Vietnam War, victory and peace. U.S. President Richard Nixon used the gesture to signal victory in the Vietnam War, an act which became one of his best-known trademarks. He also used it on his departure from public office following his resignation in 1974. Protesters against the Vietnam War and subsequent anti-war protests and counterculture activists in the 1960s adopted the gesture as a sign of peace. Because the hippies of the day often flashed this sign palm out while saying peace, it became popularly known through association as the peace sign. All right. We're now done with that part. Okay. Now we can go to our next video, next show. And the next show we're going to go to is AO from, I believe his first season was 1969. Room 222. Huh. Interesting. Which added up together is 6. Would you look at that? Of course, there's more to that. Somebody can leave that in the comments. But yes. It is like more of a separation as well because it's that. It's always something too when they use numbers in the title. The other show they have is 227. And that one, of course, has a 211, which is duality. They love those two numbers just mentioned. But let's check this out. And in this one, and remember what we're doing on this one is Sounds of Revelation Hidden in Plain Sight. They Laugh at the Truth, Part 2. So they're going to slide. These are more covert than the shows that we watched the other day. Okay. And so if it plays right, we're going to let it play. And so we'll watch the show. It's the first episode of it, okay? And it's interesting because that Richard name has been kind of in some of the stuff that pertains to John and things of that nature. So the boy on here, the quote-unquote black, where that is, basically the character of this episode is mostly based off of is named Rich. Interesting. But let's watch. Walt Whitman High School, right? The writer. What a name, right? Michael Hopkins. James Brooks.
Photographers from the Times will take pictures today. If our cafeteria area is clean, our beautiful students will look even more so. Hi, Pete.
Good morning, Bunny.
Can someone fix the lock on my homeroom? I can hardly open the door. Did you try? I tried.
Oh, there'll be no fire drill today.
Well,
Alarm goes off, ignore it. Unless it's a real fire, of course. I have to talk to you later. What room are you going to be in the first period? 222, Mr. Kaufman.
The band played outside my 11 o'clock window again yesterday. Do I have to keep buying my own chalk? They're ignoring my requisition slips.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Dixon.
Your father drive you to work?
Uh-huh.
I'll drive you home.
Lovely.
Have a delightful day, Miss McIntyre. You're going to be fine. Wait a minute. Miss McIntyre, everybody. Now, don't forget the 11A PTA meeting tonight. 8 o'clock in Henderson Hall. Big cake and cookies.
Hey, Richie.
Look, I don't want an argument. Are you here or not, Abel?
Well, yeah, I'm here. What do you think I am?
He's here, man, honest. Ellen. Jason Allen.
Get yourself together, baby. Ain't it enough you dress like the teacher?
Jason Allen here now. Oh, yes. Jason's here. Anderson. Here. Collins.
I seem to be here.
Marianne Fuller. Here. Oh, Mr. Dixon.
Here.
Everybody's here today.
Thank you, Richie.
Oh, don't mention it.
Hey, I just got a great idea. Why don't I teach history? Civil War period, 1861 to 1865. 4 years.
Right.
Some historians have spent a lifetime studying those 4 years. We have a week. How many of you read last night's assignment? The truth?
Everybody should know now, just about.
See you in a minute. Yes, sir. Al, write the names of these books on the blackboard. Pete Dixon, Alice Johnson.
Hi. It's a pleasure.
Miss Johnson is here to dry the area behind her ears. She's going to spend the rest of this semester with you, student teaching. And if she's smart, she'll go back to college and change her major.
Oh, I really care about teaching. I hope it's a meaningful semester for both of us.
Just what you always wanted, right? Meaningful semester.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman.
Keep in touch.
Bye, Mr. Kaufman. He doesn't like me. But I'm sort of used to it. See, I have this way of getting on people's nerves, but I'm working on it. That's why I think it's very important that you and I establish good human relations.
Right.
I know I have a lot of middle-class hang-ups. I went to a segregated school.
Oh, that's okay. So did I. This is Miss Johnson. She's a
They was
student
laughing
teacher.
hard.
You can have that seat back there, Miss Johnson. Here are the titles of 3 fine books on the Civil War. You'll find them in the school library. The one I like best is Carl Sandburg's The War Years. Okay, now, causes of the Civil War. What were they? Marianne.
The prime cause of the Civil War was the Southern states' insistence upon holding slaves.
Wait a minute. Straight from the book?
Yes, sir.
Can we go completely by one book? Books disagree. This book is now being revised. This world is being revised, so you'd better start doing some thinking now, some questioning.
But, Mr. Dixon, that is the answer.
One answer, a simple answer. Was it all that simple? According to Marianne, it was a question of morality. The North felt sorry for the slaves. Is that it? Bernie.
No, the North was willing to let the South keep slavery. They just didn't want it to spread. You know, the abolitionists were in the North, and they thought it was immoral.
And how come the Negro in the North couldn't vote?
Is that right, Mr. Dixon?
Look it up. Richie.
Well, the North had to pay their workers, but the South had slaves.
Okay, now we're talking morality, politics, economics. Keep it up. Nicole.
Can I come half an hour late on Friday?
Oh,
We'll talk about it after class. Helen.
The North and the South are both interested in the new territories.
Could you say that a little louder?
Both sides were after the new land in the West.
Richie?
Well, the big thing was the South wanted to pull out of the Union, but the North wanted to hold it together.
No, Richie, I didn't call on you for an answer. Miss McIntyre wants to see you.
Richie, you've been doing so great lately. The top 10% of your class. I sent a letter home to your folks to let them know how happy we were about it, and it came back. No such address.
Oh, yeah, sure. I live in 8217, not 8211.
Tell me the truth, Richie. You do live in the school district, don't you?
In
And that boy, Richie, so eager. Like so many new students are that way. I feel I learned more this morning than in 3 years of college. It's not like you were teaching them. It's like you were just talking to them.
Oh, excuse me. I just want to get to the coffee. Have a meaningful lunch.
I think it's so significant that you're colored. I meant that as a compliment. Did I use the wrong term?
She didn't. She didn't know how to say
Well,
that.
I'm
She was
gonna
just
ask you
saying.
straight out. Do you prefer colored, or Negro, or black?
I've always preferred Pete.
Hey, that was wonderful. I mean, you really put me down, and I deserved it. But see,
I see her character on this, like how her character was, like, and it's person they put her as the student teacher in his class as the teacher, and I think it was an interesting way that he taught because he didn't just say, "Should we just go by what the book said?" Because you know, like when you just see the book, you be like, "Well, that's what it say right there. That's the answer." But it was good. He actually challenged him to think a little more because you know teachers don't always do that. Sometimes they just want, hey, let me get that answer that's right there in that, you know, right there in the book, like what it said on that. And so, you know, I think that was good to challenge them, you know, think about it a little bit, that could have been answers. And like you said, it's been, you know, those books have been revised a lot. But, you know, the conversation I had earlier with the boy, it was interesting what he said, you know, about about school being only 20. And it was a good point. They only teach you what it is they want you to know, and that's true. For the most part, unless you have a teacher that's really invested, like they really want you to know some more, then then you know what is told. But pretty much most of the time, you know, trying to meet a quote, you know, it may be a little different. And, you know, back in the day, you had some that really did want to teach them, you know, might teach you a little bit of some other stuff, which was a good thing. But basically, right here, though, like you heard her say, she went to a segregated school, and he was like him too, and of course that meant he would have went to, of course, a quote unquote all black school, and she would have went to a quote unquote all white school, and so she wouldn't have known, you know, completely how to relate to a quote unquote black person. As you can see right here, very awkward conversation. Um, but he understood, and so he was kind of gonna try to help, you know, in a sense, teach her about it, you know, because she was a little quote unquote naive about it. But you know what? And keep in mind, this is 1969, you know, as well, and so they are trying to promote kind of the integration, you know, thing heavy on this show, and you know, just show kind of, I guess, a little glimpse or trip out was around when those things were first occurring or happening, or they're trying to do so to an extent. Okay, so because of course there's one benefit ones it's with that, and there were definitely some different ones, you know, especially in Alabama, right? But this wasn't based in Alabama, but I'm saying like we know it was different there. Alabama, Mississippi, you know, them states, you know, so. Yeah, so as you can see, it's just a very awkward conversation right here. Oh yeah, I always thought this was an interesting part in the show, or part two, that I didn't do and point out. So let's keep watching.
these things intentionally. Product of my environment. And I bet. Thanks for lunch.
Okay. Hey, we join you then.
Because it says she was a product of her environment. So, lot of times that is the case, with they hear a lot of certain stuff and how they grew up, but at least she really was sincere about what she was saying. It wasn't she wasn't coming off with hatred or racist or whatnot. She was really okay. She was sincere about like she just was kind of naive. She just didn't know. And so, but you can when it's somebody that just didn't know, and there's somebody that they doing it and they being deliberate about it and or also hate about it, and you deal differently in those situations. Not in the sense of you come and hate if the other person is coming and hate, as in you angry with them and you hate and stuff like that. No, but you really let them know and teach them and break it down to them. Let's continue.
Stuart, Alice Johnson.
Hi.
Student teaching. Huh? You're lucky you didn't get my class. I had to send 8 kids to the VP's office this morning.
I'll wait.
Vice principal. Who can control them? As far as they're concerned, rules are made to be broken. And so are teachers. Maybe there are just too many rules. A teacher can't be expected to cope with puberty. Excuse me.
Where are we going?
Oh, Alice, go ahead and finish your lunch.
Oh, is it what I said before? Because, I didn't...
No, I'll see you in class.
I was getting waterlogged waiting here.
What's happening?
Well, it's Richie. I think he may have lied about living in the school district.
Hold off from telling Kaufman.
Pete, I can't do that.
Let me find Richie and talk to him. Hey, have you seen Richie Lane? No. Have you seen Richie Lane? He was over at the park a while ago. Richie? Not easy to find.
I guess you saw Miss McIntyre.
That's right.
Can I ask you something? Where did you go to high school?
Tyler?
And I know what you're gonna tell me. You can do it, so can I.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm here to listen, but I want you to be straight with me.
Well, I tried to make it there. I tried to get something out of that school. Didn't sound. My friends started coming down on me like I was something weird. I just couldn't take all that thumping. Plus all that other stuff. Half-day sessions, cops in the hall, fights every time you look.
So you see how the quote-unquote black school was said to be portrayed there. That it's like, nah, I gotta go there and go to the integrated school or the predominantly white, to have a chance to either, get scholarship, go to college, further his education, or at least to try to get, to get an education. And that's sad. That's a sad thing, and it's sad he's getting made fun of for that, and he's weird for being smart and maybe being different. That's a good thing that he's motivated to do school, and it's sad that's the case, that he got to get roasted for it. I mean, hey, we know how it is sometimes, man. But it's sad that's the case, and it shouldn't be. You should be able to enjoy, his time, going to the school, that he was at. That this teacher right here, Pete, he went to you know, when he was in high school. But you know, he didn't automatically tell him he had this, you know, stay there. And you know, he had more options. But at the same time, you know, it shouldn't even be that he has to do that, or it feels like he has to do that, or it feels like he got to lie about his address. You know, we should be able to just tell the truth about his address. He'd be able to just go to his exact. But let's continue.
Okay. You went there and you got over. But I just can't buck all those odds.
You shouldn't have to. So you just marked down a phony address and came here?
Oh, but I've been doing real good, right?
Right.
Tell me the truth, Mr. Dixon. Are you bringing the word? Am I gonna get bounced back there to Tyler?
I don't know, Reggie.
You need to pass the test if you could have understood the questions.
Look, if you just pass him, he won't do it again.
You'll have to understand. She was 12 days premature.
Sidney Poitier is my favorite actor.
He's very good. Very good. He's terrific.
Say, you don't teach English, do you?
No, American history.
Because last night I was up reading a terrific book by James Baldwin. Brilliant writer.
Any favorite singers?
Sammy Davis Jr. He's very good.
What about Frank Sinatra? Oh,
He's okay.
with no Ella Fitzgerald, right?
Exactly.
Did you see how dude was trying to cater to him with the so-called black imitators, right? Oh, man. Dude said, what about Frank Sinatra? You know, Pete Dixon, that quote-unquote black guy, was like, what about Frank Sinatra? He was like, he was trying. So he started messing with him. He was like, bro, come on, man.
Excuse me. You know, I have this fascination for statistics. This is my 3,000th PTA meeting, and I didn't like the first one.
He said 3,000.
Could I speak to you a minute, Miss McIntyre?
He looked at him.
What are you doing?
You haven't told Kaufman about Richie yet, have you?
No, not yet.
Good.
Why good?
Because you're not going to tell him.
Pete, don't make up my mind for me. Besides, what are people going to think if they see us off with each other like this?
Right now, nothing. In another minute, they're going to think we're having one whale of a fight.
Fight by yourself. Pete, don't get me mad.
If you don't come with me right now, I'm going to kiss you in front of the entire 11A PTA.
We'll talk in the morning. You don't want him sent back to Tyler, and neither do I. But what about those 2,000 kids who are stuck there right now? What about them?
Richie Lane, we can do something about.
What am I doing as the heavy? I'm just doing what I have to do.
Sure. Liz McIntyre, all upper middle class. Touch all the bases, follow all the rules. Yes, sir, Mr. Kaufman. We're going to kick Richie out.
You don't really believe that, do you?
No, honey, I don't. It's just the most powerful argument I know. I figured it was worth a try.
Pete, I can't be you. I've got to be me.
Maybe that means touching the bases and following all the rules. But that's the way I am. I love the way you are. But I can't hold off telling Kaufman any longer. Understand?
No, baby, I don't. Because there's a kid on the line here. You're supposed to be covering the class. What are you doing out here?
I'm self-evaluating. Look, for example, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest teacher in the whole world, and a 1 being a get him out of here, well, you're an 8, and I'm a 2. 2s just don't fill in for 8s.
Richie, I want to see you after class. Okay, Civil War generals. Let's get to it. Do you have a Richard Lane? Come with me, please. Bring your book. Let's go. Okay, if anyone has anything to say, say it. Al. Why'd they pull Richie? Richie doesn't live in this district. He found out, so he has to go back to his old school. That's it. Helen.
Yesterday you were saying how things are never that simple.
I can't hear you, Helen.
Yesterday you were saying how things are never that simple. Today you said that they pulled Richie out because he doesn't live in the district. Isn't that a simple answer?
She don't talk loud, but she sure talks good.
When you have 3,000 kids in the school, it is simple. It starts getting complicated when you know Richie Lane. Miss Johnson, take over the class.
Do nothing. She had them big ideas, so they just naturally gotta come down on you.
I've just been in class today, but I feel like I know many of you already. Now you're going to get a chance to know me.
Well, whoopee.
Civil War generals. Now, I don't know why I'm so interested in that, but you know, some things strike your interest, and before you know it, you're interested. Anyway, Civil War generals were the sort of men. Jason, why are you still standing?
Because I'm tired of sitting.
I see. Jason, are you trying to frighten me?
Didn't know you were so scared.
Well, I am. It's the first time I've ever taught a class, and I'm darn scared. You're making things a lot harder for me. What's the point?
Come, man, sit down.
That is not the problem. Let me put it this way. That is not our problem. have to know Richie. I have to know all these kids, 3,000 of them. See that? Now you made me holler. All right. Time for words of wisdom. Pete, I had to accept a long time ago that I'm a principal, not a social worker. Just check his record. Do you know what his IQ is? And you're a teacher, not a social worker. If you send him back, you're not a social worker, Pete. Liz, tell him he's not a social worker. Right. I'm a teacher. I'm here to teach. But there's a regulation that says I can't teach this kid, that he's got to go to Tyler. And that's wrong. Because I know Tyler. I'm from Tyler. And what they're doing there isn't teaching, it's controlling. Here's our regulations. And I say they stink, Mr. Kaufman. Unless somewhere in all of these pages, there's one rule that says I can teach this kid.
If he stayed here, he could end up with a scholarship. If you send him back.
Oh, great. You too.
Well, of course, me too.
Well, you two are going to leave this office thinking that I'm a louse, because that's what I have to be right now. It's part of my civil service examination. It said, can you be a louse? I answered yes, and they made me a principal. This must have happened before. Don't tell me there's never been a kid in this school from out of the district. Yes, but there were valid reasons. What were they?
Like someone wanting to take a course here that he couldn't get at his own school.
Well, that doesn't apply. Everything on this boy's schedule he could get at Tyler High. Look for yourself. What would you say if I told you that Richie mentioned to me the other day he wanted to change his program? I would say he had incredible timing. And suppose this new subject isn't taught at Tyler, but we teach it here. What then? Okay, I get it. I'm not sure I should, but I do. Bonnie, call downtown. Find out what courses we offer that they don't give at Tyler High.
Blessings on you, Seymour Kaufman.
Oh, I've had that kid waiting in the detention room till I could notify his parents. You better get him in here. You just flunked the mouse test.
All right, we're getting near the part. Pay attention
Richie,
right here.
come with me.
It's so low key though.
I understand that. All you have to do is take one of these subjects. Thank you very much. Well, there are two subjects. What are they? Basic calculus?
I'll take it. And you haven't had trigonometry yet.
What's the other one?
Watch this other one. Look
What's
at
wrong? This other course. I had kind of a tough time with it myself, Richard. I'm not sure you'd take to it.
Oh, sure I would. What's the subject?
Hebrew.
Hebrew, and they laugh.
It's a very interesting subject, Richie.
Yeah. Sure, Mr. Dixon. I've always wanted to learn Hebrew.
Of course you do. Well, anyhow, that's it.
You
The
gotta
only
keep
two
laughing.
courses we offer that they don't. It was bound to be offbeat.
Can I go to my next class now?
You better.
Did you hear that? That's the class. They laugh. Look at that. This is a show from 1969. Even Pete kind of looked like, that's a good course. He said, I always wanted to take, bro. And then did you see how the dude said he had a tough time with it himself? And then he said, I'm not sure you'll take to it. But notice that was the class that the other school that Richie was going to didn't offer, that this school right here offered. Hebrew. If that ain't slick, man, if that ain't slick, they telling you right there. This ain't it. That ain't even the kicker. Watch the kicker. Watch this. Watch this. Look at how you got the red on the red and the blue. But yeah, here comes the kicker, y'all. Oh my goodness. Watch what he say. Oh, red and blue. He got the red and the blue.
Good luck.
Shalom, Mr. Kaufman.
Did you see that? Then they had him say a Hebrew word. They had him say shalom. And it would be the word for peace.
Hey, Pete! Pete! Wait a minute. Oh, my lucky, I found you. I need help. I mean it, I need help. Oh, hi! Hey, I didn't know you two were socially involved.
Liz and I don't want a lot of gossip going on about us.
I won't tell. I would have guessed, though.
You said you needed help.
Oh, it's nothing. Just that I failed as a teacher today, but that's my problem. You go on ahead. I'll see you around. Go on. Go ahead.
Come on.
Hmm?
I'll give you a lift and we can talk about what's bothering you.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Hey, this is swell.
She was so happy.
No, Alice, you can't expect to be a great teacher in one day.
Oh, I don't. I'm going to give it a week.
Good idea.
Yeah, I figure, with all the studying that I've been doing in class, have you ever seen him teach a class? It's so fantastic. The kids are just so eager and have such attention you can't believe. If I'm...
She was just going, wasn't she? Oh, no dude that was in the class messing with it. He only had one name on it. But yeah, just look at all the names again. You saw 1969. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, that's room 222. It's got some other interesting episodes about some of the things that were during those times. And yeah, for those of y'all who hadn't heard about that or seen it, that's a little jewel of a show right there. But yeah, as y'all can see, they slid it in right there too. And let's see. We want to go ahead and do a different world one. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Okay, so yeah, we'll do it because it's got a few things that are similar to that one, like how you saw how they showed him and then he said shalom. Oh man, they funny, ain't they, man? But you see why we call this one Times Revelation, hidden in plain sight. They laughed at the truth, part 2. So if this works right on Amazon, then we'll go to a different world. So let's go ahead and see if it's gonna work. Let's go over here and try. A different world, right? A different world. And even the song, you'll hear the song, and the song, of course, says stuff like a different world from where you come from, right? A different world, a new world, a new world. So also, yes, they're going from, well, some of the main characters are going from high school to college, which is in a sense like a different world. It's a whole other thing. It's typically, for those that, have typically been at home with parents and stuff, it's the first time really they've been away from their parents. So it is kind of like a, a different world, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times in college, it's its own little, yeah, it's its own little world of its own, just being there and being on campus. Um, and so also remember this show. This one's on the first season. So the first season of A Different World was 1987, and there were a lot of things happening from about 1987 to 89. You know, Heavenly Father allowed me to come into the world in 1988, and there was a lot of stuff happening that year. Of course, that was an election year as well, and Bush Daddy was in it. Bush George Herbert Herbert Walker was in then from 88, 92, of course. But technically they start in 89, but they get elected in 88. So a lot of things were definitely about to change in that time. The USSR, of course, it disbanded. That's Soviet Union for those that don't know what the USSR is. That was about 89 or so. You got there was even a little change in music in a sense. If I'm not mistaken, the Soul to Soul song came out. What was it? Back to Life, Back to Reality. Then what was the other one? What was it? However You Want Me, However You Need Me, something like that. And it was actually a British group right there, buddy. That kind of kicked off a different kind of era of like New Jack and stuff like that. And usually you don't think of them as the ones that did that, but you know, it was more so kind of that group. So a lot of things were changing. Man, there's probably some stuff. Obviously, we can see some music stuff right here in this picture, and it looks to be, if you really look at it, looks to be a bunch of different stuff we could catch right there. But also the theme song on this one, a lot of times you might see that in some shows that go more than one season. The theme song, it sounds very similar, but it's in the first season, it sounds more like a down south country kind of version of what you'll hear the song then become. And it shows you even on this show the change in music just from hearing the change in sound of music that became more popular around 87 to 89 and 90 and stuff like that. And you're going into the 90s, like I'm saying. So you begin to see a change in that as well. And you know what we could do, and we may do it on another one. We could do the one where I think it was around close to the last season, or it was like 1992, where they were out there during the the riots during what happened to Rodney King around 1993. So we may check that one out too. Not tonight, but we may do that on another one. That would be an interesting one to do. But for this subject and this topic, even though that does go with this a little bit too, because we're saying the same thing, but we're talking about stuff that's slick, showing that we're through today. So or who's the true Israelites, the true Judites. Those are the tribe of Judah. And so trying to have this stay up so you can see the title. The title of this episode is Does He or Doesn't He? So you see duality already. It's season 1, episode 11. 11, the number that duality, the number that the powers that be love to say, and they try to, they love to bring up that number, duality. It's why Kyrie Irving went back to number 11, but we'll get into that on another time. From him having that in high school, there's a reason he went back to it from number 2. Anyways, because we just watched Room 222, right? So you see, and you'll see the duality that they pushed throughout this episode. Okay. The confusion throughout this episode, because a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Okay. And so this episode is called "Does He or Doesn't He?" And let's get to it. Hopefully it works fast. Let's see. That works right.
I know my parents love me.
Yeah, see. It don't like, man, this the Amazon Prime thing don't like to work right, y'all. And this is the show I really wanted to get to today. Room 222 I've been gonna do for a while, but because that one was such a low key one that wasn't on any of the other videos that others have put up. No one got one up. They put up, I know brother he did one with that had the good times one in it, and the one from Symphony Son as well. And there's some others that have done really quick like videos. Like he did one really some breakdown on. They did some real quick ones that just showed the clip real quick. And but the Room 222 one had, All right, let's see if I can maybe get it to work if I skip the intros. I wanted to show the different sound between the songs now there's other times, but I meant to just do a lot of pausing on this one. Let's pause it right here, okay? Look at the chessboard for, and it's black and white, of course, duality, okay? They always love to point that out. That's the Masonic checkerboard. And so keep in mind, they're at a school. They made up a school, but it's based off of a no, I don't think Debbie was on it first. I think they brought her in to help. But you can see, of course, Cosby had something to do with it, obviously. With that show. It was created by him, actually. So it was a spinoff, and that's why Denise was there first. Lisa Bonet played her character. And then that went her, so they took her off the show. I think she went back to Cosby. Yeah, because she was Raven's stepmom. Olivia was her character, but and the dude from the movie, what was it, Strictly Business, when we had a Barry in 91, something like that. I forget the dude's name, but he was Olivia. He was Olivia's dad on there. And then you got hold on. Yeah, she came and you see that season 2 on was way different from season 1, because obviously she wasn't the main character anymore and they phased her out. She was on, I think she was on one episode, and Dwayne then found out she was big. But yeah, because he was like, "Ooh, I might get to see her up here," so he did, try to or whatever. But she had came back from being gone from, I believe it was or something. And, she had gotten married. So yeah, and then he met, of course, old dude as well. So, yeah. Dwayne Wayne, but they hyped her up though. But there you go. But you see, you got your 362 right there. 11. And you got your 398.42. That's 8. 398.26. Or excuse me, 20. I was saying 26 because it's 20 plus 6 is the 0.2. It's 20.6. So you got 8 right there, and then you got 11 plus 11 minus 8 is 3. Okay, so on that whole thing is 3, but yeah, you had 11 and you had 26, which is 8. That's right. They don't just have numbers in the background for no reason in these shows. I always try to do something always meaningful in the background. So like it's breaking up way too much.
Full graduate student like that, go out with a freshman. You don't read the paper, because if you would know about the critical shortage of men in this country. And stay there for almost a week when you gotta make your move. Do you know anything about cooking? It's not so.
All right. Let me see if I can try to get this up. I think it's up though. Actually, no. Actually, it is. Yep, that's right. It's gonna be smaller though on this. It's gonna be smaller. But yeah, that's good work. It's trying to act up too. Let me let it load a little bit. Let it load. If I don't want to work right, I may have to maybe try this one another time. I almost fell out.
Just read. She is beautiful when she reads. You've been staring at her for
I'm not
almost a
able to
week.
read the background though. I know stuff.
Do you know anything about cooking? This is not some barbecue chicken you just throw in the fire. Peggy is a gourmet babe. I'm letting her simmer.
All right, pay attention here. Watch this.
I'm gonna need these. Did I tell you? I saw Carl yesterday with Kay McGee. Boy, he didn't wait 1 minute, did he? Hey, Carl is a jerk. All right. Well,
Notice
there are
right
plenty
here
of
at
fish in the
this
sea.
part.
Yeah, sharks.
Notice right here at this part. You can see that Peggy right here has red on. Now she has a brown coat on, of course, but what she's actually wearing is red, and you will see this when she walks into the cafeteria. But notice also when she walks over there, you can see her walk on the, you can see the Masonic chessboard floor. And notice that Jaleesa right here, Don Lewis's character, has on blue. They do it all the time. And of course you gotta have your flag back there, right? Red, white, and blue flag. All right.
Barracudas or guppies.
Let's go. There's two of us that won't look like I'm hitting on. Take these books. Because I wanted to think my friends are smart.
And the other one, we can have to see the numbers somewhere and then break it down, but right there.
Oh, Lord.
You know, Ron, the human biology department has constructed this highly intelligent, highly fine robot called the Ultimate Woman. You obviously must have been the prototype.
Truly. I'll just take the one book.
I'm sorry. That was beneath me. It was beneath you. And the only way for me to make it up to you is to take you over to Island Pete's for some ham steak Hawaiian.
That's what she said.
That won't be necessary.
Oh, no. This is low sodium ham.
I'm Jewish. Thanks, dear.
No, Peggy.
Let's run that whole thing back. I'm sorry, I paused it. It's the part I really was the important part to hear. Hold on. Watch this. This
necessary.
is
Oh, no.
wow.
This is low sodium ham.
I'm Jewish. Thanks, dear.
Shalom, Peggy.
Did you hear the laugh track though? See set, and there's Peggy with the red on, of course. And look, there's a person sitting right there to her left, our right on the screen in blue. Of course. Now, she said she was Jewish. Did y'all hear it though? Do you hear them always throw in the laugh track? They try to offset when something was said. Then Jaleesa says, Shalom, Peggy. And they put on the laugh track again. Oh, man. They are wild for this. This is 1987. I wasn't even born yet. The year before, I was born. But yeah, this is 1987. The other show we watched was 1969. And they're doing pretty much the same thing again. On the other one, he had to take Rue. But he himself knew how to say Shalom, right? Richie. The young boy, check this. On here, she say, I'm Jewish. And the librarian, Jaleesa, says, Shalom, Peggy. So this time, it wasn't the same person that they had to make take the course and didn't think, ooh, it's saying it. It was one of the girls that would have been that saying she was Jewish. The other one says the word Shalom, who will also be quote unquote a Jew, quote unquote, as well. Or excuse me, only unquote there would actually be. So they was telling you that both of them were that. And the crazy part is one had red on, one had blue, but they was telling you that. This means both sides know that truth. As in the quote unquote right and the left, they know that truth because those are really on this team. They know that truth. So they had to play the loud track to try to offset it. Ain't that wild right there, y'all? She said it to her, which means for her to say it to her and they try to be funny to it would be as if Peggy understood that language too, understood that. Like that's wild right there, y'all. Watch what Jaleesa gonna say in this second though. After something that would show she was now they got a what we told you this now what like we were saying the duality also of the chessboard the duality of the blue and the red and watch the duality of how Jaleesa was now she just said something ink blue right that's telling y'all that she that but then watch what she say that to call her in a second. And this part when she says this is really gonna tie in with, what we were talking about in that first one when we were talking about Zion because we also talked about the Greek stuff and Greece and that false Greek is a victim where they try to trap us with. I mean, if we were to watch more of Different World, we see later Run, the one that was Dwayne Wayne's friend, the one that had the both and everything that we just saw in the library. He ends up cross and stuff. I mean, as in they call it crossing the burning sands, but basically ended up getting into a fraternity. Dwayne Wayne backed off and was like, "Nah, man, like, I do all this to do." He was like, "Oh, nah, I'm good." So he didn't end up doing it, which is great. Yep. Like Tony Tiger said, "Good, they're great." But yeah. So we're about to see and then what Lisa said. So let's look right here, or what she's about to say.
Jaleesa, who was that guy? Rumor has it that the Hillman Biology Department has built a robot called the Ultimate Woman. And you must be the prototype.
Dwayne Wayne! I didn't know I was dealing with a legend.
It's possible Dwayne has hit on every woman in America. And he's kind of like McDonald's, over 12 billion bothered. I'm so tired of these fools. No matter where you are or what you're doing, they have to hit on you. You could be anywhere. Yo, baby, what you think of my man's sermon? Can you imagine if women came on to men like that? Ooh, my man. Now, would you mind if I just watch you walk across the floor now? Would you? Baby.
they roasted
Look at all that fine hair be yours.
Oh, darling, I have the receipt.
I think most guys would like it if we came on to them.
Yeah, and I bet a lot of them wouldn't. Like your friend Dwayne, if a woman came under him, you know what he'd say? Yeah, well, he might not make that much sense.
I don't know. I think you'd say, you bring the champagne, I'll bring the cheesesteaks.
You offered me ham steak Hawaiian.
What? I'm insulted.
I'm telling you, if a woman came onto him, he'd run like a dog. Bet on it. Now that would be one of the all-time great bets.
Oh, perhaps a little tricky to pull off.
Not necessarily. Someone could pretend to come on to Dwayne.
I'll do it. Are you kidding? You will? I'll invite that fool over and see what he does.
Denise, oh, by the way, Denise, who was right there on the right, the character Lisa Bonet's playing, she wasn't the only one that ended up not being on the show anymore after that season. Now, this girl, Peggy, was like a guest, so I'm not even referring to her, but the three that's in it, the girl right here on the left, I'm not mistaken, I think her name was Maggie. They didn't put her on for season 2. They should have probably put her for season 2, but they didn't. She was only on for that season, which was like an interesting twist on things because she's a quote unquote white girl, quote unquote, at a historically quote unquote black school. So it actually gives you an interesting, it actually kind of gives you an interesting dynamic there. Because you usually see the opposite of that. And so for her to be doing that kind of gave an interesting a point of view or dynamic to it, and they could have developed that character more, but they decided to go another way with it. And a part of that may have so been because Denise, if I'm not mistaken, Denise may have been her mate, or Denise was her wait a minute, Maggie, yes, her name was Maggie, okay. Denise was her friend, and if I'm not mistaken, her mate also on that season. It may have been her and Jaleesa's roommate. So I think those three may have been roommates, but they didn't keep Maggie on there. Let's continue.
You're not serious.
Okay, no, wait now. Let's keep this simple. Peggy comes on to Dwayne. Will he respond or will he run away? Bet on either proposition, and from now on, just call me Jaleesa the Greek.
Did you hear? She said from now on, call her Jaleesa the Greek. She just said something brutal to let y'all know, to really, in a sense, y'all know who they really, and that she was one of those. Now she's saying call her a Greek. Now she's trading things. And this goes into what we were talking about on the first one, about the intro to Zion and the Tabernacle, and Tabernacle of David restoration. So these are the main parts that that need to be seen. So yeah, but so yeah, as you can see, they're really slick with those things. Really slick with how they slide those things in there and then snatch it away, in a sense, like they did with Sanford. And even on the Black Jesus episode of Good Times, they did that in a sense too. But every time when that truth is mentioned, they make fun of it. They put the lab track on, and that's what we titled this discussion. What we titled. But she said, "Call her Jaleesa," and it's like, wow, really. Let's continue that because it'll show. Yeah, it's gonna show some duality. So yeah, we'll finish it.
I think this is wrong. Wrong. Denise, we're talking about Dwayne Wayne of Dwayne Wayne Go Away fame.
Hello, ladies.
That's black and white.
Jaleesa.
Black and white. And Whitley comes in with
If a woman came on to Dwayne, what do you think he'd do? I think any woman that come on to Dwayne should be under a doctor's care.
Oh, Dwayne, he's always undressing me with his eyes. All four of them.
Hey, who's going to seduce Dwayne? Surely you're not that desperate. Why, if you shed a few pounds, do something with your hair, I'm sure you'll find
it's a bet.
What are the odds? Millie.
Wow, that girl not that doing.
Let the games begin.
Well, it's not interesting. Ron, do you know anything about human nature? Listen, girls respond when you act like you don't care.
Hi, Dwayne.
Have a seat.
Yeah,
hope I didn't seem rude in the library.
Rude? You? It's ridiculous. Is that ridiculous? Ridiculous.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because as soon as I left, I started thinking about all those things you said. You know, you were very, very funny. I love a man with a sense of humor.
Mom, you like french fries, don't you?
You left it too hard.
Good. Some more just came out of the grease. I'm not hungry. Well, boogie over there and get something for me and baby. You got some baby. And don't forget the ketchup. Where were we? Ah, yes. I believe I had you on the floor.
Man, if we could see more of what was on his jacket.
Denise, it's
It's
just
a lot
an
on
innocent
that
little
jacket.
bet. Well, I think that Dwayne has the right to know about it. And it'll make a great story for our 25th
That's
reunion.
just a blue coat on.
Oh, Jaleesa, I'm glad I caught you. I wanted to place a small wager on Dwayne.
Whitley, now, I would have thought you'd find gambling morally wrong.
Denise, I really don't think one teensy bet's gonna make them sell my seat in heaven.
No, so, what's your action?
$5 on Dwayne to turn tail. Don't tell Millie.
What
Good
do people
afternoon,
do
hill women.
stuff like that?
Now, you gotta admit, that's kind of cute.
Make that 10.
Tell him and he dies. Bye.
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 I don't know how he didn't catch it when Lisa Bonet
They're
catch
cute.
it.
I like this.
Denise about to tell him. And he just heard Willie say make that 10.
Oh, all right. I guess I can tell you about my new girl anytime.
New girl.
Oh, I think you like Peggy.
Peggy Harley?
We're dining at her place tomorrow night.
Dwayne, you really like her?
Denise, if there were a little sign over my heart, it would say Occupada.
You know, Dwayne, are you sure? She really likes you?
She laughed at all my jokes.
Well, yes,
That's what happened, all his jokes.
but not for the right reasons.
I hate it when you're oblique.
But his face like he catch it.
Dwayne,
He did catch it. He did. He did.
Peggy made a bet about what you would do if she came on to you.
What?
The whole dorm is in on it, except me.
Denise, I love this. You're making up some cockamamie story because you're jealous?
No.
I am deeply touched.
You're deeply nuts. Dwayne, I wouldn't lie to you. Look, I just don't want you to get hurt.
Okay, fine. Don't admit you're jealous. We both know the truth.
Excuse me. Is Jaleesa still here? She just left for class. Oh, no. I wanted to place my bet. I'll find her. And don't tell Whitley.
So, how big is the pot?
Dang, they cute the song on. Not the song. I'm not been fooled
I
over
think this
this
is as long as you've ever stayed after gym class without having to run some laps. Oh, would you like to run some now? Put them on the count. No thanks, coach. Uh-oh. Who's the woman? I didn't know it was a woman. Well, in class, you were climbing ropes without wearing gloves. Well, I'll tell you like this. I met her, I made her laugh, and I thought it was the beginning of something, you know?
Oh, okay. Oh, they cut me off again. Ah. Okay. All right. I tell you what. Maybe. Let's see if I can skip ahead. Really, there's just one more. Little part. And I want to kind of show.
Well, what time are you heading over to Peggy's? I am never heading over to Peggy's. And if you're my...
Hold on. Probably should have went straight to that part, huh? Well, download it if you can. As it download this live stream if you can. But okay. So yeah, if you need to get in contact with us here at Salvation and Glory Ministries, leave a comment here on Salvation and Glory 7, YouTube. Okay, it came back on. Let me see if I can get this one other part. If I can get this one other part, there's one other part. Yeah, it's one other part that I want to get on. Let's see. Okay, right here. It's gonna show. Hold on, what's this? Yeah, this was. Okay.
Friend, from
Actually,
here
there's
on
another
in,
part of it.
any mention of that name will be in the context of serious doggy. Can't believe this. Yesterday, you had the girl busting her gut. Yesterday was yesterday. Today, I found out that it was all a setup. This girl made a bet just to see what I would do if she came on to me. No. So how come you're not going? You don't know anything about pride, do you? Pride? One of the finest women on this
Pride
campus
be
invited you
blind
over to her
side.
apartment.
No one
Apartment,
said.
man. What's wrong?
They had to
Most of us
show
are lucky
the
if we meet a girl who doesn't have a roommate.
chessboard
You
floor.
got a
Man.
homeowner. The girl was pretending to give me some play, okay? She might start out pretending, but who says it has to end up that way? Remember, you're Dwayne Wayne.
Watch how he let him boost his head.
I never thought of it like that. Think about it. You're a man, she's a woman. True. A woman with an apartment.
The way he said
I
apart.
must have been bugging. I have to go. All right. I'm going to wear my lucky rainbow sweater, but not for long.
Rainbow shit.
You
Watch
have on
this
your lucky
part.
sweater. You're going to Peggy's, aren't you?
I hope they let it ride.
I am a man. She is a woman.
This is the last of the part.
She has an apartment.
Dwight, you're incredible. Whatever happened to self-respect and pride?
I think they're overrated.
Peggy conversation?
Notice he got a rainbow sweater on and talking about pride.
Number 1, start slow. Make small talk.
How they try to jack
Very
that.
original.
Should I have my card?
2,
But we know what they're
move on
gonna
to
do.
humor. No knock-knock jokes. You need serious help.
Fine. You're gonna make me late.
Look, I think you're crazy for going through with this, but why don't you pretend that I'm Peggy?
Pretend you're Peggy?
Yes, you need the practice. Come on, let me hear this small talk.
Okay. Small talk. I walk in, just go prepared, and I say something like, nice place, or maybe lovely place. Is lovely a word a man would use?
It's fine. Let's move on to humor.
Humor. Okay. Being that she lives in an apartment, I figured I'd do something topical, like, Peggy, I like apartments, but I also like houses. So I think I'll buy an apartment and put grass in the living room. Maybe I'll use this ahead of small talk.
No, Dwayne, don't use that at all. It's awful.
You're right.
I have never seen you this nervous.
You know why I'm eating? I am eating so that my stomach won't rumble in front of me. You know, Denise, there isn't just one Dwayne Wayne. There's Dwayne the Smooth, he's a love machine. There's Dwayne the Athletic, a deadly from the outside. Then there's Dwayne the Shy. His knees are knocking, and he may lose his lunch. I wish I weren't so deep.
Dwayne, would you forget these cards? Just be yourself.
Yeah, whoever that is.
Dwayne, show Peggy the real you, the one that I've gotten to know in life.
You like me?
Yes.
I can blow Peggy off anything.
I can blow it off anytime. It's funny right there, 80, y'all. But yeah, just notice how like he notice how he said that there were but notice how he said there were other Dwayne, there were multiple Dwayne. Remember how we were talking about duality, number 11 being duality, how we're saying will he or won't he, like the name of the episode was just like, really? Um, does he or doesn't he? I'm sorry. The name of the episode was Does He or Doesn't He? And that is, I mean, that's like, wow, right? Because it's clearly showing, the duality there, just off the name of the title, they're letting you know. And if you look, you see what? He also said when she said, just be yourself, and he said, whoever that is. So from having so many personas and different quote unquote personalities, what they like to call DID, dissociative identity disorder, which is really just you've been possessed or taken over by demons. Other demons. He's saying he doesn't know. Think about it, even with his name. Like how his name sounds, Dwayne Wayne, right? It's almost like a double. It's almost the same. It's not quite the same, but it almost is. But there's a reason they made that like that on it too. So he's like, there's Dwayne this, there's Dwayne the this, there's Dwayne the this. And then she told him be himself, and he said, whoever that is. So he has been, what he's saying essentially is, he's been taken over by these so much he doesn't even know who he is, the actual him, originally who he was. Because he's been living those prisons for so long. That's what he's saying. Right, they're showing you right here in these codes of things like this being the case. Now, one more thing to point out. Remember how we said Peggy had red on the other part and Jaleesa had blue on? Watch what happens at the end. Okay. Let's go back where we were.
Denise, there isn't just one Dwayne Wayne.
That's what he said. He said, Denise, there isn't just one Dwayne Wayne. He said this like this, multiple Dwayne Waynes. And then he's going to give a breakdown, or he gave a breakdown of these other Dwayne Wayne quote unquote personas that he made. But we just, as we just said, those are really other spirits. Get him be those other things.
Dwayne the Smooth, he's a love machine. There's Dwayne the Athletic, I'm deadly from the outside.
Dwayne the Athletic.
Then there's Dwayne the Shy.
And he said Dwayne the Shy.
His knees are knocking, and he may lose his lunch.
And she told him be himself. He didn't even know how to be himself. All right, and now we'll watch the end.
Yeah, you do that.
I don't believe it.
Look how he came back in. Notice Peggy got blue on there. And what color is his shirt? Red. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see that? And look, he came in like he was just a whole nother dude. Now, the part we skipped was when he went. Basically, she had invited him to her house, and she didn't like that. So but she did it. She ended up basically helping him out with basically making it look like they got together like that. And that's why Millie was talking about she won, because Millie was the only one that bet that Dwayne would actually get her. Everybody else bet against. So they was like, we gonna work together and gonna make all them look cool. But Millie actually, no one intercourse, but Millie actually bet that he was going to do. But you see right there, if you look, now she has blue on. She had red on. Now he's got red. But notice, look, he came in like he was cool, like he was that guy. Like, there it is, a whole nother persona. They created another persona, right?
I don't believe it.
Look how Jalisa was. Like, really? And just we got to Whitney, right? Jalisa still was looking like, oh snap. And then, and if you see Maggie was like, looking like, yeah, she looked back at Denise, and Denise was looking like, oh, that's what's up. Like that he didn't get dogged, because Denise didn't really want him, too much get dogged out. But yeah, that's so yeah, that's basically the I think that actually skipped a little bit of the episode, but yeah, I think that actually might have skipped a little bit of the episode. But that's the end for this episode, essentially. Times of Revelation, hidden in plain sight. They laughed at the truth, part 2. So, on that note, we're gonna get up out of here on that one. Download this download this if you can. If you need to get in contact with us here at Salvation and Glory Ministries, here at Yes Ministries. You can email us at yesministries45, yesministries45 at gmail.com, or it might be on Gmail, but y'all remember it's on Twitter. You can also go to right here you can leave a comment on here at Salvation and Glory 7 here on YouTube. Also, you can check out the blog. Go check out the blog. There's so much on the blog. Check out the blog. You know, if it helps you out on there, if it, blesses you or whatnot, what the just give me and share with me, then leave a comment over there. The blog is at https://quickening words to you, the numeral 2, and then YOU. .wordpress.com. Once again, that's https://quickening words, the numeral 2, you, which is YOU. .wordpress.com. And all right, we're gonna out of here now. Until next